multi-class door-to-door action. It's Super GT Season 2 and we're back for another round in Raceroom Raceway Bridge. So let's give you a bit of a recap of what's been going on. Tobias Tirov has been increasing his grip in the championship every round. He's been winning virtually everything. And Janos Kovacs is still trailing behind him. Kovacs seems to be the runner-up here, but it seems to be a fight for the final podium place. It's going to be between Sotiris Moraitis and then Fotis Isiglu for the runner-up. And then of course we've got a Lonely Zed in the that's his username, who's driving as well in the GT1s, but he hasn't really done any practice. Haven't seen mountain track. He'll be having to qualify now. We'll see where he comes through. But then GT4, it's a little bit of a different story. We've got drivers like Thorsten Borkhardt, William McCone, Andy Darnell, Leszek Lakomi, all fighting for wins here in GT4. It's a lot more entertaining. I mean, by entertaining, I mean there's a lot more going on in GT4 than GT1. And then of course we've got everyone else fighting up against the midfields. So practice is about to end. Tobias Tirov has hit a 106 dead, which is a very that is a very fast time, very in character with Tobias Tirov. And of course Janos Kovacs follows up in second with a 107.2. That should be it for practice. We'll be moving on to qualifying now, and we'll see if anyone can replicate this. And for your information, William had the fastest time for GT4 as well. So for the record, that's where he was before the time reset for 20 minutes of qualifying. Tobias Tirov is the spearhead of everyone charging out of the pits, and then there's Sotiris Moraitis coming out second with a relatively clear track ahead of him. They're going to try and get their hot laps done as soon as they can before the traffic starts rolling in. So as Tobias Tirov rounds the last few corners of the second sector into the third, there's a little bit of a bridge there. Massive straight. That's going to be that's the defining part of this track. Like usually in the other variants of Raceroom Raceway, like the Grand Prix circuit or the National circuit, there's a little bit of extra track there, but right over here it's going to be a little bit of well, it's just replaced with a straight. It makes the lap times a little bit shorter, and it makes it a lot less complex because a lot of these drivers haven't mastered this track. It is a fictional track, after all. Tobias Tirov, Andy Darnell, and the likes of everyone that is following him, like Sotiris Moraitis, are on their first racing laps. I mean, not racing, they're qualifying. They're on their first hot laps of the session, I mean. We're going to start seeing some lap times fall into the board in a few moments. And just to reiterate, Raceroom Commander has been enabled again, and this time if you go off the track 10 times during the race, you will receive a drive-through penalty. So I'll say it again, if you go off the track in any way, like via a mistake or cutting the track to gain an unfair advantage 10 times, you will receive a drive-through penalty, which you'll have to serve before the end of the race. And on that note, we've got 2 times, one GT1 and one GT4. Sotiris Moraitis sets the benchmark with a 108.6, and William McCone sets the fastest time for GT4 with a 116.784. That's Tobias Thierhoff going 4/10ths quicker in the first sector, rounding off the second sector, and there's a gun for Apollo. We'll see where Tobias Thierhoff ends up. But Tobias is damn quick, and then that's Janos Kovacs down in the tunnel. Looks like he was just carrying that throttle a little bit too hard, but then he just couldn't keep it pinned. Spun round. And with that, Lonely Zed has set the second fastest time on the board right now. No other GT1s have set lap times. Tobias must have invalidated his lap time. He's going round again. He's still got the fastest first sector. Got purple once again. Let's see if he can keep it together this time. Fotis Isoglu in the GT1 Ford sets 109.281. Good enough for second place on our board. Getting a few more GT4s now. We've got Mike Cook in a McLaren, now fastest in GT4 with a 1 minute 16.727, and then around 20 hundredths behind is Leszek Lakomi, P2 for GT4, GT4 P3. That's William Kuhn in P3, and then Andy Darnell's in P4. Dave Zizka just set a lap time, he's in P5 at the minute. Each of these drivers can definitely go a little bit faster in these last remaining 15 minutes of qualifying. And that's Tobias Thierhoff setting his banger of a lap, 106.4 this time. We've seen him go 4/10ths quicker. And he's gone half a tenth quicker there in the first sector. Goes 1/10th quicker at the end of sector 2. A little bit of traffic there for Tobias Thierhoff. There's a GT4. See how fast he can get past him. It didn't seem to slow him down too much. And with that, Tobias Thierhoff has not improved. He must have been slowed down in the last sector there, the last corner specifically. Dave Zizka looks like he's going to get a personal best there. He might be able to make some improvements. Meanwhile, Janos Kovacs just finished up his first lap of the day, setting a time 1.5 seconds off of the pole lap time, 1:07.9. Fotis Isoglu crosses the line, but he messed up the last sector there. He was to green personal best into first sector and second sector, but he just couldn't carry it towards the end. That last corner is very hard to get right. Lonely Zed is giving it another go. He's about to finish up right now, actually. Rounding the last corner. Kicking the end out a little bit. Serious torque from those V8 engines. Stays where he is, P5 at last in GT1. Now Photosysiclu starting to give it another attempt there to try dethrone Sortiers Moraitis from 3rd place. Timo Reiter's on his first flying lap in the 11. A little bit of a faster car coming from behind him there. That's Janos Kovacs. Must be on a flying lap there. Timo's trying to get a little bit of a slipstreaming advantage from Janos Kovacs. Smart move. He's P11 as he stands, but he's in a personal best at the minute. Doesn't quite improve from P11. Oh dear, it seems I think Rhino Burger's having a little bit more troubles here with connection. Lucas Blom in P5 at the minute is going to set a personal best lap time. Good for the garbage, but stays P5. Something tells me that isn't the last we're going to see of that Koenigsegg. There's definitely a little bit more pace in him. Photosysiclu is on a very good personal best there. If he doesn't muck up the last corner, he could be in for P3 qualifying time. He minimized that wheel spin very well. 107.853, and that is good enough for P2, dethroning Janos Kovacs from 2nd place. Photosysiclu on the front row. But here's Tobias Thierhoff again. 1/10 quicker in the 2nd sector. About to come through the final corner now. Buried under an avalanche of tenths. Tobias Thierhoff is at it again. Looks like another pole position. Just couldn't improve. Just lost that 1/10 in the 3rd and last sector. But he's doing these 106 lap times very consistently. And this is crazy to me that this is race pace for Tobias Thierhoff in that Gumpert Apollo. 9 minutes to go. We've gone qualifying for 11 minutes. We've got 14 lap times on the board, 18 drivers total. Let's go over the 14 lap times now. If you've just joined, welcome to Super GT Season 2. This round is a Raceroom Raceway bridge, and this is set to be a very good round. We've got a whole field of GT4s, significantly more than the GT1s, but there's still a battle to be had in the faster class machinery. But not for the win, however. Tobias Thierhoff sets the fastest lap time. And he sets a 106.284 as his benchmark lap time, and that's Photosysiclu in P2 for GT1, and then Janos Kovacs, who's used to being runner-up but is dethroned on this occasion, being delegated to P3 ahead of Sotiris Moraitis in 4th place. Lucas Blom in P5, and then Lonely Zed in P6 rounds off the last of the GT1 machinery. Or is this? There's a 7th GT1 on the grid now. That's Christian Kibovic just joining in the room there, with just about 8 minutes left to go. But Christian can't make the same mistake. Oh, Orlando Zavello almost collected that Gumpert. That was a little bit of a... I'm trying to think of an adjective for this, but I really can't. Zabello will need to have a look in his mirrors from now on. This is a multi-class event. He can easily end someone else's race if he's not careful. But anyway, as I was saying, back onto the topic of the GT4 machinery, Andy Darnell is in P7 and first for GT4. Next up in the second and the first row is Leszek Lekomi. Third place in GT4, Thorsten Burkhardt. Fourth, Mike Hook. Fifth, William McCone. Sixth, Henrik Andreasen for P4 for GT4 and the Mercedes AMG GT4. Then we've got Timo Reiter in P5, Dave Ziska P6, David Estrada P7. And Rhino Berger, Abdullah Salman and Christian Kubovic have not set lap times so far. Tobias Tirov is going purple again. This 106 madness seems to be his race pace. Mid 106 is the average pace of Tobias Tirov this evening. This has gone almost relatively unmatched, but that's Janis Kovacs, I just realised there, in second place. Right, with a little bit of generous rounding, that's 9/10 off the pace though, but it's solid enough for second place. But Fotis is a very consistent driver, as he improves just a little bit to give himself a little bit of breathing space between himself and Sotiris Moraitis. We got 5.5 minutes to go left of qualifying. Now, as it seems, the GT4, BMW M4 GT4 seems to be the most popular car out there. Like, must be something about that BMW, like the new one, I mean. I wonder what it would have been like if they made a GT4 out of the M6 instead. I suppose the M4 would have been a better fit, given the V6 engine. Anyway, Henrik Andreasen, down in P12, is on a personal best now. He could shoot way up the order. Henrik is known for that. He's usually the top man in whatever class he participates in, but like, those Turkish racing drivers are not to be taken lightly. Like, that's where Tobias Tirov comes from, as well as Henrik Andreasen. Imagine the class fight that we would have had if they had decided to take the same class. We could get that in the future, actually. There's been talk of a Praga championship. You know the Praga R1 Turbo, the Jimmy Broadbent one. Like, we're about to do a championship for that, and we're gonna do prize money of 5,000 VRP in cash. Not cash. That would have been very Well, it's 5,000 VRP in cash. I have no idea what the equation for that is, but yeah, that's the biggest pot that we've ever had with prize money, worth in prize money so far for any championship, and it's going to be a multi-skill level as well. We're going to have a few different skill classes. We're going to have a pro and an amateur championship and classification. And we'll be collaborating with, I hope the deal is still on, but assuming that it is, I'm going to be collaborating with a bunch of ESR's commentators. So there'll be a three-man, three people shouting down your ear as virtual racing cars go by. The Bronco's a good car. You should watch it when it comes out. Still ways to go, but definitely gonna be worth it when it comes out. Keep an eye for it. 2 minutes left to go, and this is this is time for one last lap. And Tobias Thierhoff isn't gonna let that chance go. Well, I mean, I was gonna rattle off about him snatching pole the last second, but he is the pole sitter, and he's gotten pole by almost a second at this rate. For many drivers, this will be their last lap of qualifying. In Tobias Thierhoff's case, he's going to have time for one more flying lap, but although he really doesn't need to. Like, he's kicking a dead horse here. Like, he's already got pole by almost a second with a little bit of generous rounding. But Tobias isn't one to stop. It just might be a little bit held up there by that M4. McCone might have stopped him from taking extending his pole lead, but I wouldn't be very upset about that because he was going to get pole anyway, let's be real. With 30 seconds left to go. So on that note, here are your top times. So Tobias Thierhoff starts in pole position ahead of Janos Kovacs. And then in third place is Fotis Isoglu. Fourth is Sotiris Moraitis. Fifth in GT1, Lucas Blom. Sixth, Christian Kipovic sets time last second. And Lonely Zed tops off the GT1 class. There was an RUF somewhere, Abdullah Solman. But I don't believe Abdullah Solman ever qualified in his RUF. So that's going to mean Abdullah, in a faster class car, is going to have to start behind each and every GT4. So it's going to be a nightmare to get past all those lower class cars at the race start. Like, we've got an absolute ocean of them this time. Like, what? We've got, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 BMWs, and then 3 other brands of make. No, 4 of their, 4 different brands, apart from BMW, competing in GT4. Like, that is an absolute ocean compared to last time. I think it had something to do with it was because this is a free track that most casual players know. And now we've got 4 minutes left to go of warm-up. But I don't believe that Rhino Berger ever got back in the end. I think he was booted. Very unlucky. He was one of the quicker ones in GT4. So yeah, Lonely Zed and Lucas Blom. Those are a pair of drivers that I can see fighting together today. I don't think I've ever seen the surname Blom before racing in our series. But that Koenigsegg seems to be working out better for him than it is for Christian Kipovic, our previous DTM champion. No, not DTM, Super GT. He was driving a DTM at the time and got the championship title in that, but it's a different car now for Season 2. So I was chatting to some of the drivers earlier in GT4, and despite the BMW being as popular as it is, like it doesn't seem to be the best GT4 around here, or at least not the best feeling. I mean, I was chatting to William McCone earlier there, one of the BMW drivers, and he said that he was doing a few test laps in the McLaren and it felt much easier to drive. Anyway, he found a setup anyway, and he managed to go quicker. So, thank goodness for that. He's still relatively up there. Good start, who nets him a few positions here. In a minute. But the McLaren seems to be a lot easier to drive on this track in particular. A lot of bumps, a lot of high-speed corners. And I also feel for the GT1s because at the end of the second sector there's a tunnel, and at the end of the tunnel there's a fast right-hander that is gonna absolutely kill the heat. I know they're hard compound tires, but after a while they're gonna absolutely kill the heat. Like the amount of heat that's going through that left front. There's gonna be a puncture or two if nobody's careful, so of course that's always been a problem with the GT1s, like punctures from people driving a bit recklessly. I mean, granted that it's a bit hard to feel the brakes through, but still. Warm-up's about to end, so we'll be racing very, very soon. 20 minutes race. Racing for 20 minutes coming up, and there's people lining up on the grid already. There's no doubt a few people who have been running their car light on fuel to have a lighter car going into qualifying, which is especially important because there's less weight weighing you down. But of course you need to put the weight back in, the fuel back in, I mean. Of course it weighs a lot to have all the race amount of fuel, but you need this to get to the end. So it's crucial you put it back in. I made that mistake a few times. Alright, lights ahead of the drivers. GT4 and GT1 are away at Raceroom Raceway Bridge. Janos Kovacs is on the outside as Tobias Thirov takes point. Fotis Isiglu on the inside, and that's Koenigsegg following Sotiris Moraitis through. Moraitis closes him off and takes a position away from him. Sotiris is now in third with Fotis Isiglu behind him. Janos Kovacs takes second and Tobias Thirov remains in the lead. Christian Kubovic in fifth. Lucas Blom in sixth, and Lonely Zed remains seventh. Meanwhile for GT4, Leszek Lakomia has taken point ahead of Thorsten Borkhardt, Mike Cook, Andy Darnell and Dave Ziska. Henrik Andreasen hasn't gotten the best start here. He is racing Mike Cook for the lead, not the lead, but no, he's racing Dave Ziska for P13 overall. We've got a massive train going around the bridge, or weaving too wide going into the last corner. Andy Darnell on the inside, a little bit of door-to-door contact with the McLaren of Mike Coke, but he gets through. And that is podium position for Andy Darnell in the KTM. Meanwhile, the top two are having a scrap. Thorsten Borkhardt on the inside of Leszek Lakomi goes out of it. The 44 car wants to live, he's decided. Very good move. And maybe an AMG on the outside. Overtaking Mike Hook on the inside of the hill. Oh, that's a very dangerous move, but he gets it done without a hitch. That's a very good move. Henrik Andreasen in GT4 P4 in the AMG. What about Fotis Isoglu now? He's in P4 chasing down Sotiris Moraitis, and that is Davide Estrada. Span around and just over the hill there in the second sector. So Sol Lotus of the group is now in P18 and last, and that is Fotis Isoglu hitting Sotiris Moraitis in the last corner. I've no idea what happened. But that could have been a race-ending collision. Too wide going into the final corner there. William McCone on the outside of Dave Ziska might be able to get something there, but William is finding that Mike Hook is in the way. And McLaren might have helped him actually. A little bit of slipstreaming action on the inside of Mike Hook. Mike forced to... Well, not forced, he's maintaining the inside line and keeps his position. Sotiris is now in 7th overall, ahead of Lonely Zed and behind Abdullah Salman in the RUF. But that collision is mysterious. Like, I have no idea how it happened. My camera just cut to it and he was already, like, upside down. There's going to be a stewards inquiry on that one, I'd imagine. But that now means Lucas Bloem and Christian Kubovic are fighting it out for the last podium spot. A pair of Koenigsegg's are fighting it out for the last podium spot here in GT1 with 16 minutes to go. On the inside, two GT4s, M4s are too wide going onto the start-finish straight. They're still there. Not quite now. Let's check. Going down on the inside. Doesn't chance the ABS. It's failed him before. Lucas Blum watches Christian Kubovic goes wide. And may I reiterate, if people get too many off tracks, race room commander is now enabled. And that means that if you go off track 10 times off of mistakes or cutting the track maliciously, which is primarily the reason why we activated this system in the first place, 10 off tracks, you will receive a drive-through penalty. If you go off the track too many times, you will receive a drive-through penalty. And it's happened. Lucas Blom has taken 3rd place ahead of Christian Kubovic. Christian isn't going to let him go easy, and that's Fotis Isoglu behind Christian. Fotis wants to make up a few more positions now. He had the podium laid down in the silver platter, but he needs to salvage what he can now. He needs to fight in these last 14 minutes. And you can just see it in view in P6 is Salomon. He's ready to collect any mistakes that if anyone makes a collision. They're all spread apart, too wide going into the start-finish straight. Christian Kubovic is trailing him, and he hits him! Christian Kubovic hits Lucas Blum. The other GT1s go wide. That's Sotiris Moraitis again. He got very unlucky. Lucas Plum going slowly. Absolute carnage. No vocabulary can explain the bloodshed and crimes against motorsport that we just saw on screen here, gentlemen. Let's see if things fare a little bit better for Henrik Andreasen, trailing down Andy Darnell. Doesn't go to the inside and makes his braking point. He doesn't hit Andy Darnell, unlike someone else. Thorsten Burkhardt in second place for GT4, chasing down the 11 of Leszek Lakomi. Andy Darnell on P3, protecting his final podium spot from Henrik Andreasen. William McCone is around a second and a half behind Henrik Andreasen. But if anyone makes a mistake here, William is in a prime position to capitalize. Thorsten is moving to the racing line. Didn't quite see what happened there. Photosystic got bashed wide by Lonely Zed there. That wasn't the best sportsmanship there from Lonely Zed. Gets overtaken with ease by Photosystic Blue and the Ford. I'm sure it wasn't intentional, but we do not need any more contact in GT1 today. We've got our fair share of them now. We've still got 12 minutes to go. If you just joined the stream now, welcome to Super GT door-to-door racing in 2 classes. We got Tobias Thierolf, the absolute alien of the pack. Pace out of this world, he's in first position. 1.5 seconds behind him is Janos Kovacs. In third, Abdullah Salman is capitalizing on a very chaotic GT1 field this afternoon. Lots of contact. It's not usually like this, but Abdullah is making good pace out of it. Here comes an Ocean in GT4s now. Let's check Lakomi going onto the inside, cuts off Janos Kovacs by accident there. And that's a move I never saw. Thorsten Burkhardt has gotten past Leszek Lakomi. P3 belongs to Henrik Andreasen. He's gone past Andy Darnell in the end. But what about William McCone? Trying to get the inside down the inside maybe. Doesn't trust his ABS. He let it slip away from him this time. But another opportunity will appear for him. If William doesn't have the opportunity, then Mike Hook will, because he's trailing behind half a second in that McLaren. And he's just the right distance away to capitalize off of any mistake any drivers ahead of him will make. Things are getting heated with 10 minutes to go. Leszek Lakomi still trying to fight off Thorsten Burkhardt. He's trying to get his win back. He thought he had it in the bag, but no. Burkhardt is going to take it. What about the movement to the inside? He looks it. Just goes slightly offline, maybe to pressure Burkhardt. But he's only going to keep hurting himself now. The beginning of lap 10, and Thorsten Burkhardt is in the lead for GT4, and Tobias Thierolf is leading GT1. Small bit of traffic as people start trying to lap the GT4 cars in GT1. Sotiris Moraitis overtaking Lucas Blom. Maybe doesn't quite get done. An upper opportunity will appear for him, but Meanwhile, we see Andy Darnell in P11 overall, 4th place in GT4, and he's chasing down Leszek Lakomi for P3. Leszek, who used to be the leader in the opening stages of the race, has now been overtaken by Thorsten Borkart and Henrik Andreasen. Here we have a clean view of the GT1s having a little bit of a scrap here. Sotiris Moraitis has been on this roof at one point in this race, trying to salvage anything he can from his damage-ridden chassis. He's got Lucas Blom ahead of him. Andy Darnell is just chilling in P4 in his KTM, waiting for the perfect time to strike. Here the GT4s are keeping to the left, sticking to their racing line, as more and more GT1s come ahead to pass the traffic. Thorsten made it this far, but now he has another contender now. Henrik Andreasen is tailing him 6/10ths back. Too wide going through that the hairpin there. We're getting more and more GT1s passing the remainder of the GT4 field. Lucas Blom getting very close to a GT4 there, chasing the black Ford of Fotis Isoglu. They've gotten together once already because Lucas Blom missed his braking point going into the first chicane, and he ended up hitting Fotis Isoglu and costed them both the podium. Whether or not Lucas will be able to get this back is a mystery, really. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be one or the other on this podium tonight. Maybe looks on the inside, but gets cuts off by Fotis Isoglu. That was a cheeky move, to be fair. Henrik Andreasen onto the outside now of Leszek Lakomi. Gets past Borkart. Henrik Andreasen in the lead in the AMG. Abdullah's just fallen from P2. Or P3, I mean. Oh, that's Abdullah Salman. He's disconnected from the server, I'd imagine. That's usually what his car falling through the endless limbo means. So unfortunately, Abdullah Salman, everyone, is out due to an internet failure. 5 minutes left to go, and the race is very much still on for GT1 as people scramble to make up positions from a botched start. Lucas Blom in P4 trying to overtake Fotis Isoglu for the last podium spot. The pace is there for both drivers, and Fotis Isoglu gets a bad exit. Lucas Blom goes onto the outside now of the straight and will be taking the inside line. Meanwhile, we've got a bunch of GT4 scrapping it out in the last corner. Andy Darnell in 4th, just kicking back and waiting to see what happens. Between all these speed demons ahead of him, Henrik Andreasen has been re-overtaken by Thorsten Borkart. What a show from the 44 car versus the 46 AMG. Behind him is Leszek Lakomi versus Andy Darnell, wanting to make that move for the podium spot with 4 minutes to go. Fotis let it slip. Lucas Blom seems to be in third now, and he seems to be getting away pretty fast. One or the other has gotten one way or another, damage or not, photosystically was lost out in the podium place. And that's Dave Ziska, just spinning out last second in the tunnel there. He gets him back up to speed. That's an Audi right behind him. That's Rhino Berger looking to make a position up into P13 overall. With 3 minutes to go, it's anyone's game. He has gone back. After all, Rhino Berger's back after that internet blackout, and then he's back with a vengeance. The train is still very much alive at the front of the GT4 pack as Andy Darnell chases down the 11 of Leszek Lakomi. But for the win now, it's a 2-horse race between Thorsten Burkhardt and Henrik Andreasen. Tobias Tyrolf was overtaking the GT4 leaders to lap them. The lead GT4 is on lap 16 and the GT4s are on lap 15. A little bit of chatter in the Discord now about Abdullah Salman. His game crashed, unfortunately. Before the end, that was the RUF that we saw on the podium very briefly. He would have made it there as well. Would have been a podium. Rhino Berger still chasing down Dave Ziska and that BMW versus Audi. Andy's been overtaken by William McCone. Let the foot slip there. Andy Darnell's back in front of him. But McCone's not sticking. He's sticking it to Andy Darnell though. He might be looking at a move down in there to the bridge. Goes through on the inside. William McCone takes third place, I believe. No, that's fourth. No, third. William McCone takes, no, fourth place. Forgive me, but that's Mike Cook going down the inside, maybe. Doesn't quite go for it. He stays out of it. This is the last lap, but he's not that desperate. He's content with P12 overall, and he won't wreck his car for an extra position. Just following Andy Darnell through though. In case he does make a mistake, he'll be there to capitalise. But the battle's not over. It's Thorsten Burkhardt versus Henrik Andreasen. Fast right. That's a 4th gear corner in most GT4 race cars. That's almost top speed. Top gear as the GT4s. They're hitting their top speed and they're going to go too wide. Henrik Andreasen's on the outside. On the AMG. Thorsten Burkhardt on the inside. It's a drag race to the finish line. Who's it going to be? BMW versus Mercedes. It's anyone's game. Henrik Andreasen just got him. What a race. And that's Leszek Lakomi on the last spot on the podium for GT4 and McCone P4 and Andy Darnell P5. For GT1, Tobias Thierolf wins in Raceway for Race 1, and Janos Kovacs takes home second place. Lucas Blum, after a fair bit of contact, takes third place, ahead of Sotiris Moraitis, who has gone on an incredible recovery drive. Very well done to everyone that finished. Let's have another race. I believe there's a second race here. I should know this. I've been commentating literally every round of this championship so far, but I suppose I've just lost it. I've just lost track of what championships do and don't have the second races. In fact, I hope there isn't a second. I hope there's a little bit of an intermission because my viewer just went out. But massive condolences to Abdullah Salman. He had a very good sight of a podium on his debut for GT1, but maybe next time. Commentary will continue in a moment. So we are back now in Raceroom Raceway Bridge for the second round of today's race meeting. Of course, Tobias Thierolf ran away with it in GT1, and Janos Kovacs has followed him home with Lucas Blum in his first race after a slight bit of contact, which is a word that does not do him justice. Quite the opposite of that. After a lot of contact, Lucas Blum has obtained third place ahead of Sotiris Moraitis. Was wrecked. And of course, Henrik Andreasen came back from the midfield to win in GT4. It was a drag race to the finish line between himself and Thorsten Borchardt. Like, that's one of the closest, I believe that is the closest finish we've ever had in PetrolHeads, period. Like, not even in the Indy 100 we've gotten that correct, that close of a finish ever before. But if you've just joined, welcome to Super GT. We've got GT1s, GT4s, both having door-to-door battles 2 times a day. For the second time today, very shortly actually. 2.5 left to go to warm up, and then we'll be racing. Sotiris Moraitis can be seen just sitting there on the grid, practicing his standing starts. That's something I'd practice again if I were you. If there's a bunch of people listening along in the race, do take care and during the race starts, because while you can get a really big amount of positions, you can ruin a whole bunch of people's races if you miss a move or wreck someone or 5. That's how it goes. It's one of those things, but high risk, high reward. But I'm sure your other drivers like you will appreciate if you keep your inner Verstappen in check. But yeah, welcome viewers, Super GT. Not the YouTube channel. The event's called Super GT Season 2. Please don't sue us, Steve. So if you've been here for a while and you've liked what you saw in terms of the racing, please be sure to give the stream a like. It really does help us gain popularity. I think it's worth a like. It's free. 60 seconds and we are racing. Once more. So a little bit of chatter in the Discord now. Of course, Abdullah Solomon was slightly upset, to say the least, about his game crashing. He had a podium dropping onto his lap, and he wasn't there to claim it at the end of the race, since he had fallen through the void, and that usually means disconnect. So yeah, my condolences, Abdullah, if you're watching. And Dave Ziska was saying that he saw Abdullah lag a little bit. And Andy was saying that his KTM is very slow, is way too slow in the straights. I think it's a 4-cylinder engine, a turbo 4-cylinder engine in that KTM. Not very much power on that at all. Sure, it's good in the corners, very, very good and agile in the corners. But that will benefit you in places like Suzuka, Norton Bridge, with 2 massive straights. Maybe 3 if you count the tunnel. But we are about to start racing again. Looks like Sotiris Moraitis is going to be starting in front. And in character for the reverse grid to make things slightly more interesting. So we don't see a total Verstappen situation. We want anything but that. No, wait. That's the second row, but still. He's up there. And he's ready to capitalize on anyone who is just any slightly slow during a race start. Well, it's Lonely Zed on on pole, Sotiris Moraitis in second, Janos Kovacs third for GT1. Andy Darnell starting in front versus William McCone. Lights out! And here we go racing for the second time in Raceway Bridge. Lonely Zed takes point ahead of Sotiris Moraitis. It's going to be 3 wide, 4 wide maybe going into the first corner. Goes back to 2. Sotiris Moraitis in the inside line. Janos Kovacs on the outside. Doesn't quite make that work. Tobias Dirov in third place trying to make that early position there. William McCone's in the lead there for GT4, followed by Leszek Lakomi, Thorsten Borkart and Henrik Andreasen not getting the best start. Andy Darnell is all the way at the back. Something must have happened to him. Sotiris Moraitis leads ahead of Janos Kovacs, Tobias Dirov and Christian Kubovic. William McCone storms ahead of the GT4 field. An excellent start ahead of Leszek Lakomi, Thorsten Borkart, Henrik Andreasen and Andy Darnell. Free overtaking Dave Ziska there to overtake for 5th, I think. I may be wrong. A 4-car train for the lead and in the trailing podium positions. It's comprised of Sotiris, Janos, Tobias and Christian here. Janos Kovacs is breathing down Sotiris Moraitis' neck. He's on the inside, doesn't quite make it work, he's chancing it. Very cheeky move from the Ford. But I won't blame him, because he's got Tobias Dirov, the man himself, the race winner from last race, breathing down his neck with with a pace out of this world. Into the wall, Dave Ziska. That BMW is smashed. It must be a write-off. Janos Kovacs is still 2 tenths behind Sotiris Moraitis, but then there's Tobias Dirov 3 tenths behind Janos there. Maybe the inside, he's taking a lot of inside lines. He's throwing to the wall and seeing what sticks here at this rate. He needs to get past Sotiris before Tobias makes his move. But in all fairness, if Kovacs doesn't get this move done, Tobias will, as Kubovic has already dropped back over a second in 4th place. And Fotis Isoglu is starting to drop back a little bit. I think he got a little bit of damage. He's not usually this low. Just listen to that symphony of V8s in those GT1 machineries. You've got a Gumpert Apollo, a Ford GT, and a Celine, all in the mix for the top 3. And just 1 second behind is Christian Kubovic and a Koenigsegg in the same caliber. Weaving from side to side, left, right. What's it gonna be? Sotiris taking the racing line, but that gives it perfect leeway for Janos Kovacs to take the lead. Or maybe Sotiris gets the better exit. And that was a big mistake for Janos Kovacs. Tobias Dirov is right there. He's going to make the move maybe. Doesn't quite look into it, but he will get it next time. He's definitely close enough now. Sotiris has done a very good job. 4 minutes in. Goes off the track. Janos Kovacs goes bouncing off. Gets some airtime. Very squarely there in the GT4. I think he's damaged suspension. He's slowed right down. Christian Kubovic has gone through. What about Fotis Isoglu now? Of course, we've got Race Commander, but I think the damage is already done. I think that suspension is screwed on that Ford car. Sideways, that's collected. That move is collected, Henrik Andreasen. Oh, that's a nasty bump there. He's collected someone else. Nobody's checking their mirrors. There's some absolute chaos here. In true raceway fashion. And by the end of that ordeal, William McCohen and Thorsten Burkhardt are up front, fighting it out for the lead, while Andy Darnell and Mike Koch are still fighting for second and third. No, third and fourth, I mean. Andy takes a very late inside line, maybe does not... Traction control holds him back. He does not have the power on the straights or corner exit. But what we just witnessed there was genuine murder of Henrik Andreasen. I think that was Lakomi as well. Nice check. I can already see in the Discord that there's already a stewards inquiry. You can see his name disappear from the leaderboard, doesn't mean he's not racing anymore. Total write-off that Mercedes was. Last check is still going, but he's at the back. He's been overtaken by the horseman himself, Timo Reiter. Arno Berger's been keeping pace. He's been managing to... He's picked up 2 positions so far. Making 10th by 10th on Andy Darnell as he keeps tripping over the car in front. If he keeps it consistent, he'll be able to maybe challenge it. And that's another 2 cars on the wall. What is that? It's Andy Darnell versus Mike Koch in the wall. That was the last McLaren. Absolute carnage today. You can take it from me, I moderate the bridge server from Brother Ops. This is genuine. I just see genuinely no difference in the quality of racing between the open races here. Like, there's so much carnage, you can't tell the difference. I think part of the reason why people are crashing and overstepping into each other is that this isn't outside of the public bridge server. Nobody really uses this for serious racing. Nobody knows the track very well. It's very easy to overstep. Of course, Race Commanders is still enabled, and any off-track excursions, if people get 10 off-track excursions, then it's the drive-through for them. Andy's behind Timo Reiter, and Reiter's being held up by a Celine, actually. That's Sotiris Moraitis being held up by the 11 of Leszek Lakomi. The faster class car holding up the slower class car. Who would have thought? He's gone now. But this is crucial for Andy Darnell. He needs this. He needs this to get back in the game. Here comes the Koenigsegg now. Christian Kubovic following the train there. He's looking for a little bit of a way out. He just needs to make use of that V8 and get past all of them on the straight. Thorsten is still working at it, trying to get past William McCohen, but McCohen has kept him behind. Thorsten's running out of time now. He's got 10 minutes to go, 10 and a half minutes to go to get this move done, and William has done very well in these circumstances. Chaos going on all around them is so... Well, Andy just almost bit it there, but he kept it. Maybe on the inside, doesn't get quite get overtaken by Dave Ziska there, but he's still in it. The M4 is still alive. That's a spin. Oh my god, that is the worst damage I've seen to an M4 all day. That is Les Cheklikami, and I believe he is out. That's got to be a write-off. I am amazed that that M4 is still going. Look at the state of that front bonnet. And those front wheels too. He can hardly turn the car. But what about Thorsten now? He's having another look, but he's getting... just can't quite get it done. There's a GT1 now ahead of him. Satiris is trying to wait to not interfere with the GT4's battle. Well, that must have been Kovacs. Kovacs is gone, nowhere to be seen. He must have been wrecked. Satiris Moraitis is in second place ahead of Janos. Not Janos. Janos is gone. Yikes! That is. I just saw one of the most graceful barrel rolls ever seen from Timo Reiter. They should make barrel rolls a sport. Timo Reiter will be champion. But I hope that the stream caught that, because sometimes you see slightly different stuff. But that's a lot better than the 360 that we're used to from the horseman himself. Ceremonial 360. Thorsten's got the move done. William McCone has to take that position back now. Fotis Disaglu's tailing them now. He's waiting for the time to overtake us, to not interfere with their work. This is the fight for the lead here for GT4. And Fotis Disaglu just blitzed through right past it without interfering too much. 2 tenths behind, they're bumper to bumper. Over the bridge. Williams getting very close there. McCone on the inside, maybe. Doesn't quite get there in the end. He's still there though. Side by side. On the start finish straight there. Who's gonna get it into turn 1? McCone on the outside. And Thorsten on the inside. That's the better traction. William McCone gets in the lead once again. Ahead of Thorsten Burkhardt. Or is it? They're too wide going up the hill. Slightly off track. That's sideways. William almost spun it there, but he's kept it. And he's going to keep going for 6.5 more minutes. He's got the pace in him. He's going to take this win if it's the last thing he does. Six and a half minutes to go. And the fight is nowhere near over in GT4. He's going to slipstream again. This time on the inside. He trusts his ABS. He's going to stick it on the inside. He's going to stick it to the man. That is Thorsten Burkhardt. He's side by side. He's going to be on the outside line. Going into turn 1 now, but the side by side now going across the start finish straight. M4 to M4. Thorsten stays ahead. He gets a better traction again. Almost getting past him there. William McCone is still there. Clear left for Thorsten Burkhardt. Thorsten Burkhardt is under serious pressure. in these last 5 minutes. William McCone has gotten pace. McCone has the target in front of him, and he'll get to it and pass it if it's the last thing he does. McCone's using the smaller rear wing there, side by side going into the start finish straight maybe. Thorsten and William McCone are once again side by side for the third time running on the start finish straight. Who's going to get past though? Just about edged out by William McCone. Good show from the two M4s. 4 minutes left to go. It's not outside of him. It's not out of Thorsten Burkhardt's sight yet. Thorsten was robbed in the first race, and now that Henrik Andreasen is gone, this is his last chance to get this win he's been coveting. You can see he's trying to find any kind of track advantage that he can get. William McCone's running the lower wing though. He's making those moves very easily because of that. Andy Darnell's fighting now with Dave Ziska. Ziska's round. Can't quite see over the hill. That was a very bad camera angle. I don't know what happened there. But Ziska went round. He was drifting through the sweeping right-hander. But now William McCone is comfortably ahead of him. Going into the start of turn 1 chicane. That is Thorsten Burkhardt going on the outside. Make contact. Thorsten's forced out. That was a very cheeky place to put his nose. It was very, very lucky that he didn't get knocked out then and there. This just proves that Thorsten is going to want to make any move. This is no limits now. He's going to take anything. He's going to do anything to get this win. And William McCone's going to watch out. Andy Darnell and Dave Ziska are still having a bit of a scrap. I've reason to believe that maybe Andy turned Dave Ziska and maybe Andy waited for Dave to get back going again as a sporting gesture. That is a very good sportsmanship. I endorse that greatly. That's a bit of a bad move to the inside. We guess he snaps out of it, he doesn't go for it. Thorsten Burkhardt is staring at the back of William McCone's rear bumper. 1.5 minutes to go. Thorsten Burkhardt is running out of time to get his first maiden win here. I believe it's his first win. I don't know, maybe. He's running out of time anyway. They're following very close, but Lonely Zed is trailing them both. Going to want to try get past without interfering too hard. This is the battle for the lead for GT4, and Lonely Zed just drove right past it. Lonely Zed was on the inside there, so Thorsten cannot make that move. Saved by the traction control there. Thorsten Burkhardt gets very squarely there, but he does not lose any time whatsoever. He's gaining, and William McCone forced to the outside line. William McCone is defending. McCone is almost... He hits the apex and just gets edged out by Thorsten Burkhardt maybe. They're still very, very close together. Burkhardt is back. And Thorsten just got dropped back. That was a very cheeky move. He should have backed out of that. Here's Andy now and Dave Ziska giving him one last run. This is his last chance. Andy maybe has a run. Doesn't quite go for it. That was a death sentence there. Not quite alongside. He's getting the better traction though. If he wants to gain time on Dave Ziska, he has to do it now. The KTM is not good in a straight line. And Dave Ziska knows it. If he just stays ahead until the straights, then it's a done deal for Andy Darnell then. And here come the race winners. Christian Kibovic gets his first podium in quite a while, and Sotiris Moraitis gets second place in Super GT after a valiant effort. Just gone too wide, Andy Darnell. Just edged out by Dave Ziska, overtaking him for T10 overall. And I believe the race is over. So Tobias Thierolf wins, predictably. But then Sotiris Moraitis gets his second place. He managed to overcome many challenges during this race, and it's all come good for him today. Very well done to Sotiris Moraitis. And then there's Christian Kibovic in P3. Very well done to him for making the best out of the events happening around him and making the most out of the speed that his Koenigsegg can give him. William McCunn, after a valiant battle, overtakes Thorsten Burkhardt after a jostle of the lead. Very, very entertaining. Burkhardt was in the running twice for the lead today, but once had it stolen from Henrik Andreasen and once stolen, the other time stolen from William McCunn. So that was a super entertaining race. This is the best one so far. You'd be crazy not to join us for the next one. But before you go, we're going to get some post-race interviews going. As usual, I'd love to hear from a few people. Certainly. There's certainly going to be some cheers going on in chat now. Alright, so Sotiris Moraitis, our P2 finisher, is going to be speaking with us soon, but he's just grabbing a bite to eat. So, yeah, very well done. That was a surprise podium for Sotiris Moraitis. Very well done to him. I can't emphasize that enough. That was a very exciting race. So, we better start now. Andy, would you like to say your piece after you finish typing your message? In that sense, we might start with Fotis' actually. Hey Fotis, would you like to say your piece?
Hi Michael, sorry, I was watching the replay.
No worries. So, Fotis, that was a fair bit of contact in the first race. What happened there? I didn't quite see the beginning of it.
Yeah, that's I was watching. I thought, Kovacs pushed me out of the track, but it wasn't his fault because the way that I took, I was on the inside in the first corner next to him. I have the line behind Tobias, but on my exit, the car oversteered and gone through to Kovacs. I didn't touch him, but I didn't left him space to work the corner. If he was gone out of the track, it would damage his car because in that spot they are the killer sausages, as you know. So he moved his car to the left. I was there. He pushed me off track, but it wasn't his fault. I think it is a racing incident.
Of course, if you guys ever have any racing incidents you'd like to report, there was a lot of carnage during that race. You are free to use the you're free to report and set a steward's ticket via the Discord.
Yeah,
We want to keep the racing. Sorry. We'd like to keep the racing as clean as possible. We strive for that as a community, and it's important that you report the incidents yourself. Otherwise, we will not see them, and we will not be able to get to you.
Yeah, in the heat of the battle, I thought that he pushed me. That's why I immediately jumped to see the replay. But no, it wasn't his fault. He had nowhere to go. If he gone out of the track, he will damage his car and his race would be finished. It was I didn't left him enough space to make the turn, I think. Yes. Yeah, I didn't leave him space. It's not his fault.
Okay, that's all right. So, of course, in the second race there, like, do you think, what's your opinion on that was the Koenigsegg that made contact with you in the first race? It was
In the first race, I have contact with Sotiris. The Koenigsegg, I didn't show them. While I entering the corner, I see immediately in front of me two cars face to face, blocking the whole track. So I had two choices: or go through them, or cut all the chicane. I chose the second. It was very quick decision to make. I risked to hit the concrete barriers there, but it was the only safe solution, and it was the only effect that it had on me. It a little bit of slowdown, but yeah, it's better to go and hit them both because there wasn't any room on track on that spot. It was parked, both of them on the apex, face to face.
Yeah, it was certainly a very tough situation to be in. So, anyways, during the second race, of course, you got P4.
Yeah, that wasn't. It was a little embarrassing. That because I forget to start and I start from the pit lane, and when you start from the pit lane, it doesn't allow you to start before all the cars on the track pass in front of you. So I start last, about a half a lap behind of my class. And the whole traffic of GT4 in front of me. I managed in the end of the last corner of lap 1 to overtake them all and fight my way from the back to the front. I think if I had one lap more, maybe I could claim one spot more. But I'm happy. It was enjoyable to fight from the back. I enjoyed the race. I'm happy with 4th position. It's okay. Some GT4 drivers causing problems to the GT1 cars, but yeah.
Yeah, that was a spectacular recovery drive.
Thank you.
So anyway, Photos. Do you think you should, is there anything else that you'd like to say to the crowd at home or any of the drivers here on the channel?
Yeah, I hope they enjoyed the race. I enjoyed the race, at least. I hope to see them in the next round. And for the drivers, congratulations to all, finish or not, and congratulations to the podium winners also.
Alrighty, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that was Photosystic Blue. Next up, that was one of the GT1 drivers. Next, we'll have a GT4 driver. Andy Darnell, would you like to say your piece now? Are you ready?
I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening. So, of course, you were fighting up front for most of the for the most race, but of course, like the lack of top speed really did screw you over, didn't you? On the KTM.
Yeah, big time. But the thing was, it was so much quicker in the corners. So, you know, I tried to get the moves done in the corners, but that's dicing with death. Unfortunately, I did make contact with a couple of drivers, but yeah, down the straight, I lost about 3 or 4 car lengths every lap, which was a bit frustrating. But it was great fun. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Had some great battles with Mr. Lakumi and Dave Ziska, Mike Cook. We had some great battles. Good fun.
Yeah, of course. I saw you drop back at this race start of race 2. What happened there? I didn't see what happened to you.
That is just the lack of power. Each race start was the same. I lost about 4 or 5 positions from pole. So, yeah, a little bit underpowered to say the least.
Yeah, yikes.
Very quick in the corners.
Have you considered starting the car with the T traction control off?
No, I
used quicker.
Yeah, no, I had the traction control off for the whole race, both races anyway. But yeah, it's just no power. Obviously, when you're battling against the Audis, which I think have got 4-wheel drive as well, I've got 0 chance.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Actually, I have one more thing. There was no drive-through penalties for race commander. How do you feel about that as the race organizer?
No, that's a testament on how good the drivers are we've got. I mean, we have got a mix of skills. We've got beginners mixing it with experienced drivers. There's always going to be some collisions, but overall, that's a good sign, if nothing else.
Alright, thank you so much, Andy. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the crowd, or are you done?
No, thank you to you for doing the commentary, and thanks to everybody that turned up.
Alright, no problem, Andy. Anytime. So anyway, thank you, Andy, for your time. I'll be seeing you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Bye for now. And alright, assuming that Sotiris Moraitis is back, returned from getting his bite to eat, end quote. I'd love to hear from him next.
Hello.
Sotiris Moraitis, you are P2!
Yes.
Can I interrupt?
Well, this is a... Okay.
Yes, interrupt.
Damage has been done. You've ruined the moment. What do you want?
Okay, sorry.
Oh no, go on.
Sotiris ballerina pirouettes on the air, it was quite impressive.
I actually recorded it. I have the pub. I actually busted laughing. I wasn't mad at all. Any drama that happened in race 1 with Fotis was discussed within the 5-minute break. I was quite disappointed at the first race. I got myself into 2 incidents. I flipped the car, luckily no damage, and the other one were Christian and another Koenigsegg, I don't remember his name. They were moving, trying to rejoin, and I hit them. But I managed my way back onto P4 where I started. Like, I crashed, fell into P8, went up again in P6, crashed again P7, and went back up to P4.
Yeah,
So that's the first race.
Mighty
The
recovery drive.
second one was one to remember. I led some laps, surprisingly. I actually, those are, yeah, those are my first laps leading in a actual league. So it's actually, it actually felt good.
Yeah, I can tell. It's always a good feeling when you're out in front.
Yeah, the second race was clean, although there was the problem with back markers, or half the time. Some of them
Yeah.
were getting out of the way. They were kind enough to get out of the way, which I thank them very much for that. They were the people that staying over the line. I respect that. And there were some occasions where they were weaving around a lot.
Yeah, I think one of the problems there was that people, like, of course you're coming up to lap them, and then someone's about to, on the verge of a move or something, and
Yeah,
like-
I don't mean by battling. They're not forced to let me past. I sat back, waited for them, and when I found the gap, I just zoomed past them. I let the acceleration do its work.
yeah, of course that's the best way to go. You had a bit
But
of trouble for the GT4s
yeah.
then.
Yeah, but it was a fun race. The best fun I've had for quite a while now.
Yeah, certainly.
So are the results out?
Someone, I'd imagine that someone was gonna, but there's quite a few stewards inquiries. Andy Darnell just sent a screenshot of the finishing results as they were when the race finished, but there will be stewards inquiries to go through.
Yeah, that's understandable. What else? Oh, actually, again, I had some wrist pain on my left hand again.
You gotta get that checked out, man. I'm worried about you.
It's not something serious. It's just some pain here and there.
Yeah, I know the feeling, but still, like if it persists, then it shouldn't be something to sleep in. Just saying.
Yeah, I should wear a wristband, maybe heal it.
Maybe.
Actually, the next race for me is on Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't remember. So I got some time to heal it.
Yes, of course, that is ideal. Let it heal
Yeah.
as much as you can. Of course.
But that's that. It was a nice, refreshing result for once.
Yeah, certainly. It always feels good to be on the podium.
Yes.
So anyway, you're the man in second. Is there anything else you'd like to say to anyone else on in the chat or in the channel?
I hope they enjoyed the race as much as I did. I hope I hope my flip was as funny as I found it. That's that. To be honest, it was fun.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Mr.
Thank you.
Very well done. All right. It appears we have 2 drivers left now. Care de Burkhardt, would you like to say your piece?
Yeah, hi guys.
So you had a very good. You had a very good run between both GT4 races. From the first one, you just got edged out by. You were drag racing to the line with Henrik Andreasen, and of course you were fighting with William McCone from the second one. Tell us about that.
Yeah, first of all, that was my first 2 races on this track and also in this class. It was 2 hard races, to be honest. The first race was good, but Andreas was a bit quicker, I would say. And the last corner, I realized too late that is the last corner. I thought I have 1 more lap to go, but yeah, and braked a little bit too early, and yeah, I had no chance of acceleration against the Merc. No chance. It was a good race. It was a great win from him. We deserved 1, and yeah, race 2. Hard racing as well. I think P2 Hakon and we both had his points in the race or mistakes, so both of us had moments. I would say it's okay. The last P1 was a little bit too late braked, but yeah, on T2 I pushed him also a bit wide, so everything okay. It was hard racing, quite hard racing, but I would say nobody crashed into the wall and nobody had to give up the race in case of fighting. So I'm happy to bring home P1 and P2 and P2 for the team, and both drivers, McCone and Reyes, deserve P1. And I'm excited for the next races. It could be very close, and I'm happy with the races if the next races have the same flavor like this race.
Of course, I hope for that too. This is one of the most exciting rounds we've had yet. I'd advise you check out the stream. I think this is one of the most entertaining races we've had yet. But anyway, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you'd like to say to chat, or?
Yeah, thank you for the streaming, first point, and thanks for the racing. Both ends was clean. The guys waited, and everything was cool. I'm happy to join the league, and I'm excited for the next round.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to PetrolHead.
Thank you.
All right, and finally, Timo, would you like to have a small bit of a talk, or are you okay?
Yeah. Now, after my flip.
Yeah, that flip was awesome. I loved it.
Every time I drive the circuit, I flip there. I hate it.
Yeah, like I flipped there before as well. Like specifically in in the Audi, and there's a DTM car, and I flip all the time in that corner. But yeah, that was very spectacular. It brought a lot of energy into the race. Very good airtime there. So of course, Timo, you had reported a racing incident, and
Yeah, first race. I had a touch with the GT1 after the first chicane. I don't know what happened. He drove into me and I got into the wall. My race was over. 2 minutes pit time. Yeah.
yeah, of course. Well, like the stewards will be on that now, and like hopefully it won't happen again. But anyway, Timo, the horseman lives on. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we end off the stream here?
Just great commentating again. A lot of commentating.
Thanks.
Yeah, great race. Makes fun until my mistake, but yeah. Hopefully some great battles next time.
Alright, thank you so much for your time, Timo. And I suppose that this is where I give you the post-race debrief. This is my summary of the race for those who are still here, who stuck it through to the very end, and for that I thank you. If I were to sum it up in a sentence, it was small bits of carnage, but it's thoroughly entertaining. I think this is one of the best races we've ever streamed yet, so you'd be crazy not to join us for the next round. So, this is where it ends. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you'd had a very good time watching the stream, then please give us a like, maybe even subscribe, so you don't miss any more of the streams. We've got so many different You have so many different racing series on at the minute that we all think you'll get a very good kick out of with all the best drivers. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure. This has been Michael Tuite. Thank